Today we have three topics. So we'll start off with the website AI evolution. Let me actually share my screen. And then we'll see here. Let me know if you guys can see this. Can you see the big green slide?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start off with that. So, and then we'll get into Shift AI. So my automated migrations from XP to XM Cloud. It's like actually, Martin, excited to see what new things you've prepared. You can't just repeat the same thing, can you? Yeah. Uh, so now I'm pretty excited too. And then we'll take a look at Sitecore Stream. So different capabilities and ways of using it. So we'll start off with a website evolution. So this is actually a report that we did for one of our clients, and it just so happens that the client is in professional services industry, and I think lots of us are in the same industry. We're kind of in the same boat here. So a lot of things are going to be relevant to a lot of people who will be watching this. So some of these things aren't going to be news, but some of these things I think may be news for some people. And I think the important point of this is to really brainstorm. No one can predict the future for sure, but there are things that are out there that are already happening that are on these slides, that are things that are just starting to happen, and then there is just some pure speculation, right? So I have a slide on 1 to 2 year prediction forecast, 2 to 5, and then 5 and beyond. And that's where it's, more speculative. That's where it's just, kind of blue sky thinking there. So let's take a look at 1 to 2 years. So here on the left side is things that are happening or already happening or will be happening, and things that you can do if you're mostly focused, the right side is mostly focused on pro services, but a lot of these things are really going to be industry agnostic. Right. So zero-click search. So if you've been in the space, kind of keeping an eye on things, this is a massive trend, and it's impacting some sites more than others. In e-commerce, that's becoming a big deal where traffic is tied directly to the revenue. But basically, if you're not familiar with the concept, it's where AI has been changing user behavior, where instead of performing a search, let's say on Google, and then clicking through to one of the search results or an ad, now users are simply getting their questions answered within that engine and not actually clicking to go to the website. So that's what's called zero click. So this is happening right now. We see our clients already having been impacted by this for more than half a year now. That we're seeing a massive trend across all of our clients, actually. Some more than others, depending on the industry, but it's widespread. It's industry agnostic. It is predicted, though, that in the next about a year or two, zero-click search will reach 70 to 75% of searches. That's an important point. Some industries are already there, especially those are in the publication space. They're already seeing 30 to 70, like depending on the company in that industry, 30 to 70% traffic drop. So as a result, across the industry, we're probably going to see anywhere from 40 to 60% traffic decline as a result of zero click. So that's due to ChatGPT primarily, and Google AI overviews. Perplexity, Claude, all those don't come near the volume, the billions of sessions and search volume that's going through OpenAI. Perplexity is the name you hear quite a lot sometimes, but I think Perplexity is in hundreds of millions of users weekly, and OpenAI is in billions, right? So it's not even registering on the map, the volume of traffic and session that goes through OpenAI as opposed to other search engines. So that's probably that. OpenAI is kind of the Google of AI engines right now. So what we're seeing as a result, right? The expansion of AEO and GEO. I'm not going to go through all of the material here, just cover the important points, and you guys can feel free to ask any questions about any of these things. But the thing here is the technical infrastructure is getting impacted, the content strategy is getting impacted, marketing strategy is getting impacted, content marketing is getting impacted. So as a result, all these things are starting to change. So SEO focus, some of that focus is switching to optimizing for AI search engines. Try to retain that traffic, try to avoid the zero-click searches, or try to skew AI engines into passing on the narrative that's beneficial to the business, right? So there's a good example I like to use. It's imagine you're a pizza shop in New York, right? And before optimizing for geo specifically, right? Let's say if someone goes to OpenAI and asks for things to do in New York, it'll probably come up with the most popular sites to visit. Won't mention that pizza spot at all, or mention it towards the bottom. So with geo, the AI engine would mention us first, therefore promoting our business, right? And that's the concept of geo. So it's getting AI engines to drive the narrative through its generation that's beneficial to the business. AO is slightly different. It's mostly copy pasting kind of answers to questions. So, but both are important for AI optimization. So as a result, we're going to see edge computing expanding because AI crawlers need information to be available quickly. In fact, we'll probably see, and on the next slide, we'll talk more about how that's going to evolve further. There's going to be most likely a separation in how websites are built for AI versus other types of presentation. So visual presentation of the website right now, as we know, it is going to evolve. But the thing is, AI. What's different about AI crawlers right now is that some of them pre-crawl content ahead of time, just like Google, right? But there is a lot that happens at runtime as well. When you go to OpenAI, ask a question, right, and it launches an agentic flow, and it goes and crawls websites at inference time. So that's where site performance is extremely important. That's where edge computing is going to, right, develop as a result. So we're going to see more static sites, right, in the near term, more performance optimization, more optimization for AI structured markup, right, and from the technical perspective. And then changes in the content strategy, content marketing. It's writing content for AI consumption is different than for human consumption. So for instance, we want to write content in smaller paragraphs that are digestible. Each paragraph should have a point or answer a specific question. Right? Some of the things we haven't really, on or haven't had to bother or think about before AI search engines. So the biggest thing I think right now in the next 1 or 2 years is optimizing for AEO and GEO. And AEO again is optimizing for answer. So it's answer engine optimization. This is where AI simply crawls your site, for instance, and it finds an answer to a question. So it's a lot easier for it to just copy paste that answer into its answer to their user instead of spending compute power to generate something, right? So it follows a different path internally. And then generative engine optimization, GEO, that's where a lot more goes into play. Authority, content, right? Content networks, content hubs, all those sorts of things, and then structured data, of course. So making it easier for AI engines to consume content fully, because they don't crawl pages fully. They're not, well, one, they're not as good as Google. In fact, they use Google's indexes for a lot of these things. But when they do have to crawl the site themselves, that's when that structured markup becomes very important. So things like content lakes will start developing. So this is where that question about CMS and whether that, some of those things will be relevant in 6 years, right? We were talking about earlier. So this is where content consumption, content ingestion is changing as a result with AI through internal applications. We see it firsthand. Gen AI made it super easy to develop applications, right? There are businesses built on that. As developers, as technologists, we know some things are already getting replaced, automated, It's a lot, vibe coding has made it really easy to build a custom app for a lot of those things. In fact, we've built a custom CMS ourselves with WYSIWYG, versioning, workflows, everything in about what 4-5 weeks of time. So a lot of these things are going to change, right? So, but the point is, we would want to expose other content outside of the content in the CMS to AI crawlers. And that's where content lakes will come into play. So without getting into too much detail, it's sort of like a data lake, right? So think Fabric-ish kind of approach where Microsoft Fabric, where content can be dropped and from different files, different formats. It's consumed, it's tokenized, right? And it's made crawlable for AI engines. So that's 1 to 2 years. Now, one thing that's probably going to be important for marketing, if anyone's from the marketing side is going to be listening to this, or from the strategy side, is that um, paid media is being impacted big time by this right now. That is where we are seeing changes in content marketing strategy, shifting budgets away from paid media to other channels. Right. So channel diversification is going to be important here. All right, 2 to 5 years. So this is where we're getting it, starting to tap into the speculative space just so slightly. Some of these things are already happening, but this is definitely a lower confidence prediction, where the previous one was factual. So websites are going to continue evolving. How they're going to evolve, the websites are not going to go away. Let me just say that. They're not all websites are going to go away. Some likely will, but a lot of websites won't. And those that stay will evolve. All right. So the future for websites will look different, most likely based on the nature of the website. Right. Some websites will simply switch to their focus being primarily AI engines, and they won't care so much about the presentation to users. They won't be investing in redesigns. They will simply focus on making the content available through other AI engines, right? And then there's some monetization that's already available for things like that. For instance, Cloudflare came out with a tool a while back already, that allows to monetize on content exposure for AI engines. So, so some websites will just do that. Some websites will evolve. We can also see some websites, just like some of the brick and mortar stores right now, with the coming of e-commerce. So some of the stores still retain their physical locations just for people to come and experience the brand, right? To touch and feel the tangible products. We see the same thing, and things are pointing towards the same pattern happening in digital now too, where some of the sites will stay to provide that brand experience. For instance, there's an evolution in e-com right now, e-commerce, where OpenAI, is already offering products, right? And then having the credit card, you can just simply make a purchase through OpenAI, right? So recommend me, you can ask for a recommendation for a certain product based on your criteria, your price range, and so on and so forth. And it'll provide your recommendation. So without spending time on research, it'll just give you the answer that you need. Now, let's say if you're looking for a sports shoe and it gives you a Nike brand, of course, the brand, there's no question about it. And you'd probably be excited to see a brand you recognize and trust, and then you just buy it on the spot. If it happens to recommend a brand you don't recognize, you probably want to explore that brand a little bit, right? So you probably want to click through and visit their website, see what it's about before making the purchase. So there's definitely going to be value in some of those digital experiences, but it is pretty certain that websites will start focusing on two audiences, right? Humans and AI. And this is where the evolution is going to start happening, is that the website structure and architecture, everything around it, because of the focus on AI, is going to evolve for a lot of the websites dramatically, right? So all the way to creating APIs that are focused on crawlers, right? Exposing content in the way where AI can just read it at inference time the easiest way possible and digest it as fast as it possibly can. Um, like I said, I think I mentioned that when AI crawls the web page, even if the web page isn't dynamically loaded, it may not read the whole thing. It would just grab like bits and pieces of content, um, and then move on. So it's important for websites to optimize the content itself, not just the way it loads, for AI digestion. So AI will become a primary website visitor, right? Now, with the with users getting their answers on the spot with the AI agents, there will be used to more and more personalization. It's I- maybe it's me, but it's you often hear, oh, users expect personalization, in marketing speak. Well, it- or users demand personalization. It's not that they demand, it's they just get conditioned to finding information quickly. So if they don't find it quickly, then they leave, right? So that trend is going to only accelerate with AI because of the zero click, the question answer type of behavior. So users will be more conditioned to finding answers quickly. And those websites that do stay, they will need to keep up with that expectation for digital experience. So I think this logic, at least in my head, makes a lot of sense. So for the users that do end up clicking through to websites in the next few years, they will be conditioned to finding information quickly. So if they can't, they'll leave. More so than ever before. So personalization as a result, personalization and experimentation will be paramount. I know a lot of, well, some actually, unfortunately, a large number of enterprises are still not even personalizing. So that's, I think that AI driven habit of digital consumption will be almost like a wrecking ball for those companies that aren't personalizing their experiences right now. So personalization is going to be paramount. So there is an argument also that personalization might go away just because websites are probably going to go away because users will just get what they need through AI search engines. But the fact that not all the websites will go away just makes this argument invalid, right? So the things that we definitely want to do is continue optimizing, to adjust for that and prepare for that. Continue optimizing for AI. Think about potentially re-architecting, especially if you're thinking about a redesign. Think about the features that to include on the new web digital experience if you do choose to redesign right now that are going to help you combat the zero click trend. For instance, adding elements that AI engines like OpenAI cannot simply put in an answer to a user, right? So interactive, engaging elements, things that would engage users, things that users would come back for, user-generated content, right? Potentially including forums, user portals. Um, Maybe we don't have a portal now. Maybe that's something to think about, right? What value can a portal add to users? So giving users a reason to come back. Right now, if we're simply doing a redesign, just a better looking website, by the time it's done, as a lot of redesigns last months, half a year, some year more. By the time that year long redesign is out, you'll be building a website for the past. So focusing on that side of the house, focusing on creating architectures that would allow to expose content quickly for AI. Potentially, maybe even think about some automated mechanisms to summarize content for AI, right? Or rewrite content in the way that AI would understand it better. So these are all the things we want to think through. And then 5+. So this is kind of blue sky thinking, right? So this is where there's definitely a lot of speculation here. Uh, but you can kind of see the trend, right? So traditional websites are mostly replaced by interconnected knowledge networks. So websites will become promptable tokens effectively. You'll be able to prompt for content on other websites, domains, uh, browsers are now already starting to reduce functionality that's competing with website consumption. So there is a future where browsers will potentially dictate the experience for a lot of websites, right? Especially those that are not focused on visual and content presentation through a normal browsing experience, right? So those websites that, let's say, would be focusing on content syndication, for instance, right? So publishing websites, they don't really care how users consume their content. They need to expose that content through different channels. So browsers will figure out a way, and they're right now working on this to create dynamic experiences based on users' preference. It's just like you go to, let's say, Bing, right, and it gives you kind of news, and Google tries to guess you and personalize the experience. So your browser is evolving towards becoming a portal through which you would interact with any type of content. You'll be able to just say you'd like to learn about this or that, and it'll uh, create the experience on the fly, right? For something like that, you can, let's say, prompt OpenAI right now to create let's say, a training course, right, for a certain topic for you. With browsers taking over the presentation for digital experiences, they'll be able to set up an entire learning portal, for instance. Right, so it's not just textual; it's experiential. So things are starting to move more and more in that direction. And the websites that do survive, they will be extremely personalized. Um, Otherwise, you simply won't be able to survive in that world. Unless your target audience is old. Um, but even there are arguments actually for older people adapting a lot of these things kind of faster than middle-aged people, just because they don't really know technology. It's just easier for them to ask. They don't really have any habits around digital, so it's easier for them to just ask for simple things with simple natural language than try to browse or search. So there's an argument that older people would actually convert to this behavior sooner than middle-aged people. So, anyways, so this is the speculation side of it, right? We'll see how things play out. There will be, of course, new ways of creating content, new ways of monetizing on content, new ways of monetizing on uh, development of digital experiences, right? So um, I think this is where content lakes will really start delivering value, especially for those that don't focus on visual experiences, right? So this is where APIs will play massive value. Um, and there will definitely be new forms of intellectual property and new ways that websites will try to retain their visitors, right? Everyone's going to try to scramble right now to keep the traffic coming to their website. So there will be new creative ways. So that's something, if you're going through a redesign, definitely need to think through. Use AI for that. Prompt AI for what would keep users on on your website if you're on the marketing side and watching this. So I'll stop here. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. There's some downs, plus and minuses, some black swans. Obviously, I haven't mentioned any of that, but in the recording, you can look up some of those things from the slides. But does anyone have any questions from the folks who are on right now?
No questions, but there's some interesting thoughts that I haven't considered before about just the way websites would change and things like that. I think that's just something I haven't even considered. As I've been looking at the AI landscape and the possibilities of what's going to change. So um, interesting, good thoughts.
Yeah, things are evolving so rapidly. We were at the AI conference in Las Vegas, and the first impression, it was a Wild West. It was, it
Mm-hmm.
was, it was just, you know, you could tell a lot of the companies that were there were probably experimental, just so much noise around AI. But there was one demo that really stood up to me. It's about Samsung. Yeah, Samsung new AI website where there was this, first of all, special domain created for AI crawlers that Samsung exposed around all their products, and their experience was completely prompt driven. So when you land on the website, you're just prompted about what you're looking for, and then as you give it a quick kind of like direction of, you know, the type of product you're looking for or type of documentation content you're looking for, the prompt comes down, animates down, and then the website gets auto generated on the fly based on your prompt. And as you browse the website, the experience gets adjusted to your browsing behavior and the content that you're looking for. Even product detail pages, for instance, they would change not only the components that they're displaying, but also the content. So let's say you're looking at like specs for Samsung TV. Uh, if the website, if the AI behind it observes that you're more of an experiential user, right, it's going to prioritize specs for surround sound, for color, for comparison, right? If it detects that your query, let's say, is very technical and you're more of a technical user, it's going to switch out the specs for the TV to be more technical, megahertz, and, you know, like refresh rate, whatever that is, right? That was just live, completely live. It
Mm-hmm.
was just at real time. So that was really cool, and it evolved the product detail page, the components, the content that was displayed. So the whole experience was just focused, and that was a perfect example of hyper personalization. It was the entire experience, the word, everything, labels, buttons, placement, layout, everything was put together on the fly by AI. It's pretty mind blowing.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Vasiliy is
Vasiliy,
Mhm.
go ahead,
question.
Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, someone else want to ask.
No, go ahead, Martin. I'll ask.
Okay. Just in case I missed that, did you mention schema.org and JSON-LD, these type of things?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the structure. Well, I not explicitly, but that's what I meant by structured content. Right. So that's what AI engines are really respecting, and that's what they care about. That's the easiest way to present content to them in the structured way. And if you marry APIs and schema.org, that makes them even better.
So in simple words, what the schema allow you to do is you have a content, so you have a page with the content, and this context content comes as just a textual form, right? But it's not the way how LLMs consume and how they store. If you know, on the back end, they store everything in vector databases. So schema.org is the way how you can kind of organize this content for large language model to consume easily and classify it properly. And this is some sort of structure generated underneath the pages so that you help these systems to consume. And that basically gives you, if you are a business, it gives you quite an advantage over the competitors, because with proper setting up this schema, your business will be represented in this model. So whoever comes into the model asking for some specific type of service, if you're already there, they will likely to offer you, rather than someone who is not optimized for it. It's a little bit ahead of telling that, but here at Zont Digital, we made Sitecore marketplace module. So if you have heard of marketplace recently, which was announced, so we are building the extension that does exactly that. As of today, it analyzes your pages under edit, and it kind of optimizes that. It gives you advice. It gives you ability to do answer and engine optimization and generative engine optimization, two of the things. But with the future versions, again, marketplace has lots of restrictions as for today. As soon as it expands, we will be able to do much more things. including automatic JSON LD schema generation, so that basically clicking a couple buttons, you will be able to organize your content for LLM consumption like that. And it's already in progress, so we're really close to completion. Again, those of you who attended my last week, my Thursday headless Sitecore development user group, I was given a very long talk, maybe over an hour, about marketplace, about how it all works, how it all plugs together, and I demonstrated this marketplace extension under construction. So they will be recorded anyway, so you'll get it.
Yeah, and that nice plug there. No, we're definitely excited about that marketplace module. AO Geo is center focus, or and if
Now we have
not, it should be.
browsers, AI-powered browsers like Comet, if you have heard of that. A little bit scary to use it at this time. Of course, I know it comes for confirmation every time it needs to submit something, or especially when it comes to payment details, but still, I don't trust that level of automation. But I perfectly see this Comet browser for QA purposes. If I am developing something and I need to do QA, it ideally fits my needs.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, without further ado, let's move on to the next session. Martin, take it away.
I'm taking. All right. So. I'm going to start with a bit of theory, as usual. I am sharing my screen. Oh. Okay, so those of you who know me, you know I'm very big fan of R&D kind of work. So that's my biggest passion. And if I was to choose what I'm going to work at, I would be just entirely doing R&D all my life, because that's where the biggest challenges, but the most sweet benefits come from. This time it's not exception, and today I'm presenting you something called Shift AI, what I've been working in 2025. This addressed the largest challenge. How do we migrate websites from XP to XMCloud? The biggest requests from the community probably over these days. I tried to address these things by the automation. So let's take a look. How did I manage? Before going ahead, let me tell about myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Martin. I am Sitecore MVP for 8 times so far, and very fingers crossed anticipating to get my 10th MVP Jubilee one in a couple of months. I have a blog post which I often write. I wrote probably over 300 of posts there so far in my history. That's on the blog posts. I'm active on Slack. I'm active on Twitter. I also run Sitecore Telegram. If you're using Telegram Messenger, this is definitely the thing for you to go after, because I'm sharing lots of insights about Sitecore. And there are, I think, 7 or 8 channels in this Telegram Messenger related to specific topics. So definitely should go there. And last year, I am sharing some daily insights about XMCloud. It's called XMCloud Daily Tips and Tricks. If you're on LinkedIn, every single day, I am delivering some new interesting tip to you. Maybe not new, but definitely helpful. Okay, so initially, there was an idea for me to do something which I called XMCloud Factory, to do exactly that. So what it should be done, it should be a powered migration in the first place. Secondly, it should make this XP to XMCloud transition. That's what we want. I understand it's not possible to make a silver bullet that covers 100% of things. Therefore, I focus on a lift and shift approach, and I want to do Pareto law of 80-20, so that less efforts take much of the automation and take much of dummy manual work we otherwise would have spent time for. So that was my initial iteration, and right-hand side there is even a praising. I'm proudly showing this praising tweet on LinkedIn from Vasiliy. Thank you, Vasiliy, for good words. I was pleased to hear. So let's go ahead. I mentioned lift and shift. Why? Why lift and shift? First of all, lots of clients are very ambitious. They want to go for redesign. They want to do like a big jump of all actions in one go, and they stuck for a year at least, because planning is difficult. In some cases, you don't need to go that way. There is so much potential for failure. And we have a client who thinks exactly like we do. They say, we don't want to do this big redesign. We don't want to do all of that. We want quick and immediate jump to XM Cloud, get our hands on this new platform, see the difference, practice our self-learned, the team, so that we at least know what we're dealing with. Just publishing alone requires new way of thinking, right? You know that. So they want to do things progressively. And this is exact use case for this type of people. In reality, I think lift and shift should be done for the majority of such migrations, especially if they are multi-site or if they have some sort of complicated data architecture. This is exactly where automation can help you. So when I started initially, I was thinking about the tool set, and my first thought was go in SQL, go in with SQL Server. When I tried to use AI for doing type of things, I was amazed by the performance. Everything what I was trying to do was executed in a second, like second, maximum 1.5 seconds, not even 2 seconds. Like you see the record set on the right-hand side that has all the website presentation, like everything I need for export. The problem came from the complexity. I never had a query less than 150 lines, and if you ever coded SQL, you know how sometimes it's not obvious things and how it's complicated. Give me a second, sorry. Sorry, that was a cat. So at the same time, I decided not to progress with SQL despite the productivity was awesome. And I switched in favor of PowerShell. So why PowerShell? First of all, this is first client for all the Windows operation system built in. And we do, personally, I do love PowerShell. I have very great skill with it. And this choice actually paid me later in a time when I decided to wrap everything with MCP Server. And PowerShell naturally fits MCP Server on Windows operation system. So it was a no-brainer. The second reason was we have PowerShell remoting with XM Cloud coming out of the box. So again, if you ever tried PowerShell with remoting, you know how nice and effective things are. So you can manipulate everything in your remote Sitecore instance, XM Cloud in our case, just by running local PowerShell scripts. And it's not the one that, not XM Cloud that just runs in container, but it also applies for all the cloud environments, including production. Of course, I don't advise doing that with production, but you know it's still possible. So I stick with PowerShell. Yeah, sometimes you have to be very much creative with PowerShell and reinvent the bicycle, but that's minor pay for all these pros we have. And one of the things, PowerShell is much friendly to be generated with AI, if you want to go with that. And especially it's easy to maintain, fix, and troubleshoot. Right, so when it comes with AI, especially for the conversion of the components, there is a sensitive moment. So we have a branch here. We have two scenarios, basic and advanced. There are some organizations that have strict compliance and the regulations they do not allow them to move anything outside of their perimeter. And we face this type of clients. So that means you cannot send any of their stuff into AI. If they have component, for example, and component code, they don't allow you to do that. They don't allow you to send it to AI and do kind of manipulation with that. So for this type of customers, we use AI not for doing actual job, but for creating the tools that will work bespoke and specific for that particular client setup, so that these tools, namely PowerShell scripts, mostly PowerShell scripts, will do this job and do the conversion. For advanced scenario where customers are not very much regulated, we ask them permission to use AI for the code manipulation, and that brings way better results, because in this case we can use the trained model instead of just producing the tools. We can use the trained model that knows how to convert components from ASP.NET MVC into Next.js with React. So with that advanced scenario, we can achieve way better results than just doing a disconnected conversion. And of course, the output, which is TSX in our case, is much more accurate. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some challenges I faced. Maybe not the most important, but in order to do the conversion from MVC to Next.js, I need some input with MVC, but where do I get the sites? So it's clearly not the customer sites because I don't have them. And if I do have them, I'm not allowed to work with them. So I need some sort of demo sites, and I played with a bunch of them, and only one somehow managed to be applicable for our purpose. That's our good old Habitat website, if you remember the one. That's the website I'm going to showcase today. It runs Sitecore 9.2. Again, doing with all websites, the challenge is you cannot just simply install them, right? Because if you try to install something older than version 10, something on version 9, you will find that some dependencies for installer do not work, or if it's even older, you probably will be able to install old version of scale database, like lots of challenges. So you had to overcome this some way creatively. I'll explain how I did. And that's particular case. How would you connect XP database to XM Cloud? Again, I resolved that by connecting XP database as a secondary publishing target, which is something that was called that in XP. It's still possible to do in XM Cloud. And if you see here, right bottom corner, we have master database. This is selected, so you can register as many databases here as you want. And then you will be able to use some UI tools that are built in with the XP to copy content. Other than that, of course, you will be able to use PowerShell to copy content between database, which is more creative way of doing things, and you can generate that and automate, of course. So this was my solution, and the best thing about that is I don't need to get old version of SQL Server to install it in parallel. I can use the one that comes with XM Cloud in container. So I basically use XP database in container, plug them in container. That's how I register them. Another challenge was setting up SPA remoting, which is not very much straightforward to do. You have to spend some time to understand how it all works together. By the time I will start this work, the tool set for AI was modest compared to what we get today. And especially I struggle a lot from Golden Fish memory because the context was not that good as we have it with GPT-5. So that's another way of struggles. And the solution of that is anytime you get some sort of results with AI, you kind of ask it to cache in MD files. So whichever they have currently in a context, you can kind of compressed context of AI and save it into empty files. Similar, I would call it serialization, basically. That's similar to serialization. Yeah, and multi-language sites, all the languages, all the versions, everything must get migrated. So that's another requirement that should be accounted. More to say, identification and the hierarchy, the structure, it should remain exactly as it is, other than the areas where it's not possible. Yeah, that's what I say about IDs. When start doing the automation, things did not go well for me. First of all, the donor website was not done correctly. It has duplicate unique identifiers. So I had to do sanity check to validate these and other type of potential mistakes. So I'm checking for the media item, if it's compatible, if it's not. Sometimes you may have the items which have the same name on the same level, but that's not what is allowed with XMCloud. You can do that on XP, but you cannot do that on XMCloud. Sometimes you have circular references, and you also have to care of that. That's another sanity check. But the good news, you get the report, and the sanity checks tell you everything, which prevents you from the migration. So let's talk about the content migration. You can copy as is templates. They basically stay as they are. You can copy media library. You can copy placeholder settings. You will need to do some sort of conversions, slight conversions on top of them, but these three things you can copy as they are. You also copy page items, but page items have presentation inside of the presentation fields for layout and for final layout, which basically use presentation of XP, which is incompatible with the way how presentation sets in XMCloud. So that must be converted, and that was one of the biggest blockers on my way how to convert presentation from XP to XMCloud automatically. The other things, dictionary entries, also, it's basically a key value, collection of key values, but in XMCloud, this is a standardized template that comes out of the box with the image of XMCloud, but in XP, it was not, and therefore developers created exactly the same things, but in a multiple different implementations. All they have their own unique IDs, their own unique templates. So we want to spot dictionary entries and convert them into XMCloud format. Sometimes we have special items to copy, for example, home page, because on my demo, I will show I have a website pre-created, and it includes homepage, the only page pre-created out of the box. You know, like if you create the page and site and tenant, that's what's coming out of the box. And homepage is not just the thing with presentation, it has lots of specific settings for XMCloud. So you would better preserve this page. So instead of overwriting it with the old site web page, I'm dropping it just as a child of home. So basically I have /home/home, and later I can move it. I can move presentation once it converted into the proper home page. I'll show you. The other thing is site definition item. Again, I will be dealing with Habitat this time, which is Helix. Helix has definition items for the site, same as XMCloud has. All formats very different, not compatible, but there are still references from definition items that being used by the website, so I still have to preserve this. And as I said, presentation itself is a big thing. So this is how presentation looks in the fields, and they're not compatible between XP and XMCloud. the different way of dealing with placeholders, the different way of getting the hierarchy. And again, XMCloud uses layout service. They build the JSON with all the placeholders and hierarchy, and that's why they went different way. With XP, the classical one, it was not possible to get the hierarchy at all. So you only know placeholders, you only know renderings in these placeholders, but you cannot build hierarchy other than the runtime. This is why we have XP runtime as the requirement. So this is all the steps I'm doing to convert rendering. So we convert view renderings into JSON renderings. That's what XMCloud uses. We convert component names because Next.js has specific naming convention, and just keeping the render item name does not work. It cannot start with the digits, and it cannot have special characters, so we have to convert them as well. Parameters template, again, they are not compatible, so that's why we have to create XMCloud parameter template and inherit it from the old legacy, which we copied before, so that we get best of both worlds. And then we assign these parameter templates for the rendering. So another thing is dealing with placeholders, because you need to, in XMCloud, you have to identify all the renderings that may fit into that placeholder, otherwise it will not render. Not something you had it with XP. So that's another puzzle to get resolved. Another thing is like data resolvers and GraphQL queries. You still have to use AI to generate those. And it's not something that always works. It's one of the most difficult tasks. You have to deal with circular references, which I told, and unique placeholders, broken hierarchy. That's sanity check that fixed that. And again, runtime resolution, as I said, we have to do everything in runtime. So for the sake of experiment, I have this website. Let me show you. This habitat, I run it in virtual machine, which maps by this host name. So it's nice looking website, I think 25 pages or something. And now we are going to use automation to convert this website into Next.js. It was written with ASP.NET MVC. It uses Sitecore 9.2 as a background, as a backend system. Quite nicely done. At some time, all of us met this website. Okay, so coming back to my presentation. So the interesting thing is that with MVC, we have a model. M stands for model. And this is the data source typically comes as a model, while in Next.js, we still receive model as a props, but we do have a TypeScript for that. And in my eyes, this converts almost one-to-one where you can use that. So why not map them? That was my thought. Basically, all the types of data source usage you can combine into less than 10 scenarios. For 6 of them, you have built-in data source resolvers, which is not enough in many cases. And for example, you cannot use hierarchies, which typically used for breadcrumbs. This type of scenarios, you have to do data source, GraphQL. And since GraphQL is textual format, you can use AI to generate that. As soon as you train a model and it knows what type of data and what type of data relation you need to do, then it basically can generate you specific GraphQL. So instead of going with data sources, we can use GraphQL query almost universally to keep the single approach. There are some nuances doing this front end. We have JavaScript, CSS, and other like icons for starting images, which you must move. And this is how we deal with them. Basically, scripts will likely to be compiled, minified, and you simply just get them and drop into the public folder of your Next.js so that they appear under the same relative path. One of the problems with that is that most of the websites historically used Bootstrap, and Bootstrap was high tied to jQuery, which is not nice to work with React. So this is another thing that brings the biggest challenge of resolving. And some of the cases you still have to troubleshoot manually. As I said, it's not a silver bullet. It just automates much of the job, but not everything. And when it comes to the styles, we have three types of styles. Some of them are static. So basically, you deal with them same as with the minified stuff. From JavaScript, you just pick them, drop into the public folder. As soon as the relative path is the same, it will get picked automatically. Some styles are dynamic. And again, you may see these as the, let's say, SXA properties or general rendering parameters. I aim to automate this type of things by advanced rendering parameters templates. You remember I mentioned just a few steps ago, I am inheriting the original templates with the XMCloud compatible so that they get both worlds. Some of them work, some of them don't. So it depends. And of course, sometimes you have parameterized styles, something that resolved in real time by the scripts. And of course, this requires some manual fixing and moving them into React and Next components. When it comes to fonts and icons, it very much depends on the origin of them. So likely they will get converted automatically. Some other things to consider would be redirects. And on a demo, there will be one of the redirects, which we gracefully bypass. Some model customizations, I don't think you can deal with the things that are not supported any longer, especially on XMCloud. So in most cases, you will have to do that manually. Most of the models have been decommissioned, so you need to find the alternative. A good example is XBlock, which was community maintained, but it was abandoned. So the best thing is just to convert block and taxonomy into generic type of pages in XMCloud and create types for the tags and reproduce taxonomy hierarchy. That's a manual job. And yeah, security, Sitecore forms, all this type of things you have to do manually. Last but not least, how do you know that migration was nice? You do QA. And typically QA would split into 3 blocks. Manual testing, it speaks for itself. You know what is that? You compare how it looked before, how it looks now. The other thing you would want to make sure that the page hierarchy remains the same, because as soon as the URL changes, you have to create redirect item for that URL, because this being consumed by search engines and maybe external references, you need to keep the data hierarchy. But of course, the best thing is to use AI to do deep compare. We use a tool set of 3 tools, which we can combine together to guarantee if not HTML perfect migration, but at least the structural validity between how it was done in XP and how it comes to the XMCloud. Right, so in the interest of time, I have to speed up and I have to go on with demo. So if there are any questions so far, please shout it out. If not, I jump to a demo. Once again, I will be doing with this website. So coming to the website, here is my XMCloud. This runs on my local host. In containers. So it's vanilla one. What I've done is I only create the tenant and I only create the site with a homepage. So it's dummy homepage. Remember, I said that we have to keep this homepage because it has so many XMCloud specific fields, which are very much important. So that's the only thing we have. We don't have any components here. So if I go to layout renderings, on a feature, only out of the box things. Same for the foundation. And of course, same would work for the project. I have only empty folder for the tenant. Looking for the templates, I would have the same thing. I would have feature project, just empty folder here, and just empty. And this is basically that folder was created by the scaffolding of XMCloud website. Last but not least, media, the same. Okay, so you see nothing is here. Right, so first let's do and copy everything that we can do automatically without any changes. Again, I have different tool sets, and for demonstration, I'm using PowerShell. For today, all of that is wrapped into MCP server. So plugging it to language model allows you to do everything I'm showing you from PowerShell, but in a textual way. It definitely works with Claude, like I tested out here, but it's still not 100% complete. So I have to switch back to PowerShell in the interest of time. But again, everything you see from the PowerShell basically wrapped with the MCP tool, and it works. So let's see what I have here in the content. I'm going to copy templates. I'm going to copy the actual content. Once the templates are there, I can copy content because templates are there. Then I want to copy placeholders. And of course, I want to copy the media items. For the simplicity, these steps 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, they all wrap with this one. So basically, this script calls them one after another. Okay. And here it goes, it copies template. Once again, it will take some time for it to process and do some jobs. So if you have any questions, meanwhile, please shout it out. We have a minute or two.
Love the fact that you started with the 0 on step numbering.
Say it louder. Silly.
Hmm?
Say it
Yeah.
louder. We didn't hear.
Oh, I love the fact that you started with a 0 on step counting.
Yeah, developer
True
will start with
technologist.
0. Each array starts with 0. That's true. Remember, I was saying that SQL works faster. When I did all that same with not PowerShell, but with SQL, that takes under 20 seconds, maybe 15, maybe 16, very, very fast. Think of that as we had a Sitecore publishing service, how fast it was because it copied between SQL databases. That was the same productivity. What happens here is I'm calling this script, which calls other scripts. All these scripts, they work natively in my operation system, but they themselves, they call Sitecore PowerShell extension, actually remoting part of it. So I have SP remoting model installed on my system. And by using this model, it allows me to connect to my XMCloud. And I probably show you the code while it works.
So Martin, one thing, like how or are we converting the renderings as well?
Not yet. Not yet. We will do, but I have to do 6 steps before that.
Yeah. So like it is just a rendering conversion, or we are creating a new rendering, JSON-based rendering as per the XMCloud headless?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I'll show you and I'll talk it through in more detail. Thanks for asking, by the way.
Yeah.
So here, what I'm doing is I'm basically having my local XMCloud, and I have just parameters for it, my user, my host name, and my secret. It only works in local, so I can flash it here. No problems with that. And that is the script. So if you see here, I am doing invoke remote script, and that script, everything that we have here, It's an example. It just only gets item, right? But I can have any type of script that will get executed in the context of the remote server, namely my local XM Cloud. So this is how I'm doing that. I'm using PowerShell remoting for that. And that's exactly what happens there right time. Okay, so let's see. It actually did the job. All good. So it's copied. It's identified lots of things. Copied. Placeholders. I see pages and other bits. Yeah. Thank you very much. Everything got copied. So I expect things appear now. If I go and look at my content tree, under the home, boom, we have the pages now. Again, not much use of these pages at this stage, but at least it was copied. And of course, because you see pages, you will see the templates that build these pages. So opening, feature, Zont. Yeah, we now have Habitat folder with the templates. So basically what it does, it copies the thing, it reproduces the internal structure. Again, the Zont folder is not something that exists on XP, but it gets everything underneath and kind of maps into this folder. But the names and what is much more important, identification, all the IDs, everything remains the same because these IDs are very crucial. They're used for referencing. Everything is referenced by ID in XM Cloud, almost everything. But you got the point, right? So now we copied pages, we copied media, we copied templates, and we copied placeholders. That's what we have. Ooh. Okay, let's go back to here and go to another folder. Now the time comes to rendering. That's, Arvind, what you've been asking. So we cannot copy renderings one-to-one because they were view renderings and these controller renderings. We use JSON renderings. So this script, it uses more intelligent approach. It identifies all the renderings and it kind of creates JSON renderings, but it uses the same IDs as were used before. And it uses, it's kind of convert fields like data sources, all that type of things. A good example was rendering parameters. So we cannot just take the field with rendering parameters template because it was used for XP, it's not compatible. What we did instead, we create a new XM Cloud compatible rendering parameters inherited from the XP one and set into the field here. So this is what we now do. We now hunt for all the renderings that exist on XP side and translate them into those for XM Cloud. Again, you see, I'm not using parameters here. There are parameters, but I kind of, for this demo, I defaulted them inside of the script.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to type manually and waste time. But again, all these parameters, they are parameters for the MCP. Once you type textual, I want to convert renderings for a specific website, and I want to use specific database because I can plug as many as I want here, and then I can do multiple conversion. Again, for the remoting, now we currently are doing it into our local XM Cloud in container, but that's not limited because we can send this everything. We can migrate the content and we can do everything we do with remoting into a remote instance that works in the cloud straight away. Again, I'm not showing that now because it will take way longer for demo, but local is the fastest. Again, if you know how remoting works, it will be exactly the same experience. And MCP that wraps remoting gives you again the same experience, but in a human text text language input. So what happened now? And identified, I have 83 renderings, which is a little bit scary, big number, but that's genuine one. They use 83 renderings. Not all of them.
I think, Arvind, do you have a question?
Yeah, just asking that until now, there is nothing in presentation detail, or we still have rendering references?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely great question. Let me show you that. So when we copied these pages, so let's say this is a page that was copied, it copied old presentation details. So it used XP values. Scrolling here to layout, let's see views raw. It doesn't show it in normal mode, but if you get into raw values, you see they're here, both shared and final layouts. So these are XP values. We must convert them, but that will be a further step.
Yeah, and that is why we are keeping the
We
same
cannot use
item ID
pages.
for renderings.
Again,
That is why we need to keep the same item ID for these renderings, right?
for everything, for device, for like renderings, for templates, everything must retain the IDs. That's crucial. And it's actually a much more difficult procedure than you may think, because converting the layouts took me 50% of time and effort I spent for entire this project. So half of the time I spent only on converting these guys, because there was no direct way how you can do that. And again, I said XP presentation is not compatible to the one that has an XM Cloud. More to say, it's not just this field and this field. There are also standard standard values of this page template, right? Because they kind of combine the presentation out of these 4 fields. So you have to account all that. But anyway, let's go back to the script, and looks like it worked, everything positive. So what it did, it created all these renderings. And for the sake of curiosity, let's go and see what we get. Now here under Zont, I get the folders, and the structure of the folders is exactly the same as we had it on the original website. These are the renderings. Opening them, you see they are JSON renderings now. But ID, again, it remains the same. So the page with the content that points, which presentation points to that rendering, we cannot use it straight away. Again, we cannot do that. But once we convert presentation, it will kind of fit as a puzzle, right? So with that in mind, let's do a couple more things. You know what? I have some dependencies. Process dependencies. What would be that? First of all, I need to set a couple GraphQLs and resolve them same as for the resolvers. Some stuff with data sources. And to my shame, I don't remember what exactly it does here with data sources, because some time has passed. And yes, I mentioned dictionary items which are not compatible. So if there are dictionary items, we will convert them from XP to XMC. So 111, 12, 13, 14, all that will be done here. So let me run it. Boom. GraphQL's worked. Data sources. Okay, let me leave it for doing some labor. It will take some time going back here. So to answer your question, let's go to the page. Specific page here. Let it be home page. Go into presentation details. It's empty here, and it's empty here. We saw the fields. They are in the layout in both shared and final. But XM Cloud simply does not know how to display that because the presentation is not compatible, at least for now. So once we finish with this one, still doing something. The next thing that I will do convert the presentation. Page layout. And this one has parameters built in to convert homepage. So again, I preset the script that it will go into homepage and convert presentation for the homepage into from XP to XMC, because at this time we have already renderings that are compatible, data source, rendering parameters, data sources, like everything we have. We only just need to go and convert shared and final layouts. So I'll do that for homepage only. Again, this is here in my script. You see, I'm doing this only for the homepage, which is home/home. And I take it from this URL of the original website, which is homepage, obviously. And I'm passing it layout, which is converted layout item. That's all it needs to do, this job. Says jobs completed, but I know it has not completed. There's one extra task still to go. Vasily, how are we going with time? Do I still have time to finish? I likely need, I think, 10 minutes or something, like between 10 and 15. Are we good to go? Maybe Arvind, I should ask you if you are okay for the time.
That should be okay. I will speed it up from my side.
I want to get it to deployment. So I'm not just convert it. I want to push it to a cell and say, like, this is something we converted. Yes, it's not 100% ideal, but this is how it looks like. At least this is my intention.
That's great, actually.
Right. So let's go and do this job with the page.
I think if 10 minutes is good. But Arvind, are you going to the symposium?
No, I have project delivery at the same time, so little difficult.
Makes sense.
Initially, it was a plan, but it seems difficult now.
Gotcha.
Look at that. Look at that. Sorry,
Yeah.
Vasiliy, to step in. Now,
we
after
can
this screen, we will have a longer waiting window where we can have a casual chat. But I wanted to pay attention, Arvind. You asked me about presentation. I showed you this page. It was empty. So looking here, now it is converted, all these guys. But what is even more important, if I go into here, all that placeholders hierarchy has been converted into XMCloud nicely and accurately. All the components are here. They keep with the hierarchy. So now if you pull layout service, it will return you single JSON, huge JSON for the whole page. What is funny is that original site has personalization here. You see there are 4 personalizations, 2 here. It's useless in the world of XMCloud, at least in this way, but it still comes there. Actually, I know a couple of guys who managed to match this personalization to the one that runs in the personalized. So they build a bridge. Potentially, we can use that. But I personally did not try. It was on some user group. Anyway, so we've done the homepage only. Now I'll do exactly the same for the rest of the pages. So here what it happens, I run the script, and this script identifies all the pages except the home page, because I have include home as false here, but it goes and iterates the whole website, original website, and it does exactly the same as it did for the home page, but for each and single page. So alt page and the new path here, left-hand side, and the content path URL from the old website. As I said, all that is only possible on the runtime. I must have the original site on the runtime, because if I cannot get to runtime, I won't be able to identify the hierarchy. And without hierarchy, I won't be able to do all the rest of migrations. So it basically iterates the original website that runs in the virtual machine for me and converts all these things. I want to emphasize, we're almost there, but we haven't done the most difficult part, which is converting the actual MVC to the React components. This is the final step. As soon as we convert all the pages here, we will do that as well. So hopefully it will not take a lot of time.
Another important thing while working with live project regarding redirects. So
Yeah.
redirects are completely different in XM Cloud. How we
This site
used
has
to have it
redirect.
in
You will see
XP.
it right in a
Completely
second.
different. Okay,
So
that's
for
great.
now, I do ignore redirect, but spending a little effort, you can convert it to the XM Cloud redirect format as well.
Yeah.
So you see, it skips the page edit profile because it's effectively has the redirect, and it's tried to run this from the runtime of the original website, and because there was redirect, it understood, okay, I have this status code for redirect, so not something I can do here, I better skip this page. And that's what it did.
Yeah.
So maybe spending more effort will help me to work with that as well, but I will need to map what I get from the runtime to what I have in the content tree. It's slightly more difficult, but doable.
Yeah.
Last but not least, the most important bit, we now convert components from Razor MVC, ASP.NET MVC Razor to Next.js. Again, I'm doing it for the whole website, and the way I'm doing it, I will now again crawl each and single page. So it's done on per page basis. So went to this page, and it identified and converted all these components. As you see, I keep them under views subfolder. So I have view subfolder so that I differ them. First of all, I differ them from the original components that come with XM Cloud out of the box, but views folder was the folder that used by ASP.NET. So I simply keep the structure and I take this naming structure as it was originally. We cannot take things one to one. For example, if you take a look at this thing, this is perfectly valid name in the XM Cloud, or sorry, in XP, but it's not valid for XM Cloud. So I have to convert these things, and I simply replace incompatible characters and rename things like for to their textual alternatives. So the component, the TSX will be called for no underscore column 2 2 4 4. This would be the name of this component.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of checks. And the more we go through the pages, you see there are less components because we converted most of them from the first pages. So nothing here.
But these TSX file conversion is basically from AI, right? It's not from PowerShell, and we are using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the conversion for these components, as I explained in the beginning, it can be done in two ways. The safe way or conservative way is that it's not been sent anywhere. So AI generates script for converting this. And again, we know the boundaries of the components. We know how to convert model into TypeScript. We know internals. But again, this component could have multiple data sources, and they affect internal HTML. So by doing that, we retain look and feel, we retain the styles, we retain what it was, but in some way we're losing dynamics. It still can feed the properties, but that's much better done with AI. When you send component to AI, to the model that knows how to convert them, and that takes the field mapping from MVC converts it to the TypeScript way of things, generates TypeScript that equivalent for the model with all that fields and properties. But again, you cannot do that type of AI anyway for everything because you have HTML helpers on the original MVC.
Exactly. Yeah.
How on earth you would convert these helpers? You need to dive deep into the code. So the source code is not required input for us at this stage. If we get source code, we can overtrain the model above its capabilities, how to convert generic cases. It can produce more accurate result, analyzing and digging the source code, but I am not yet fully there. I'm still behind, but potentially that is doable. Again, my objective is not to do 100% conversion. My objective is to rescaffold and create lots of things so that you can jump and work from there, pick it up. So yeah, everything has been completed. And let me check here. Okay, let's go here and apps. That's okay. Yeah, you see they are keeping the same structure. So type of things. Where is structural? I'm wondering. Try to find some structural components. You see, 4 column 2 4 4. This is what I was talking about earlier. So they've been renamed, obviously. This is the structural component, which is basically the grid, kind of grid we drop, and it has 3 placeholders. So looking at that, you see it knows how to convert ASP.NET placeholders into what we use with Next.js. So we keep all this naming, we keep it, we pass in props. It allows me to keep the structure. Nothing complicated here. It's basically simple interface. So this type of things. What I'm doing now at this stage, let's go ahead, the final bit. I'm open up terminal and we'll deploy it in Vercel. Okay, so set up and deploy. Yes, please. That's my Vercel. No, it's not that project. You are wrong. Link to different. No, it's not. So let's give it what name? LA Sitecore user group. So it will be less LA SUG on Vercel. Give this directory, please. So it's send it there. Okay, it's building, and because of the environmental variables, it will not work. Simply. Yeah. So I need to pass in the variables as well.
During build, it is also generating static pages, or are we setting it false?
Yeah. Actually, what we can do, we can go here and open it up in Experience Editor. It's still GSS, so Shift AI works with both content SDK and GSS. This is the older version that is GSS. So let's see how it works. It loads for a while. Remember, I put this old homepage under the new homepage. In order to make it work, what I can do, I can scroll to this already converted layout fields. So what I can do, I can copy this field into renderings field of the out-of-the-box XM Cloud item. I can do the same for final renderings, placing it into final renderings of this out-of-the-box. And also I can grab an icon and set this icon here, and boom, this home becomes the XM Cloud home item, keeping this presentation because it's already converted to XM Cloud, and it will work like a sham. And then I can delete this item. That will actually be the only item that has different ID rather than this one. But if you still want to keep the ID, you can use on my blog, I have an article about how you can change ID for XM Cloud items. So that's a PowerShell module that you can run from here, change ID, and you can basically bring the old identification to this new XM Cloud item, and that will work. It will change all the references to it. But that's in my blog post. Optional, of course. Right, so let's go to Vercel. Here we are. Now I go and do environmental variables. I make them on the other monitor so that I don't flash the actual values. Okay, let's do that. There's basically 3 values I have. I actually flashed them. Sorry, guys. Okay, I will delete this site. Save. And we can redeploy. So that will go to production, redeploy. Okay, how are we doing in Experience Editor? So Experience Editor did not pick all the styles, obviously. It loaded the images. It even loaded the video here. So this is the carousel. It loaded all the structure. Black on black, it's not seen, but the footer is here. Even this analytics thing, it's also here. Right, this image is the logo of Habitat, and that's navigation. So definitely it has to work. It has to work more with the styles, but I will tell you once we finish with Vercel, in Vercel it will look much more attractive because that's Experience Editor that blocks some specific styles. So how are we doing here? Building. That's what I don't like. What's wrong with it? Couple things I forgot to do. Again, not everything is automated, as I said. Okay, what is the domain here? We are going up to the home page. Will that work? Okay, boom. Here's the page on Vercel. This is where we deployed LA Souk Vercel app.
Absolutely great. Yeah.
Remember that I moved the home page is the old home page. I can move it. I can move presentation to the XM Cloud homepage, and it will work on this. So let's compare what we have on the old website. We have carousel, navigation, these 3 guys, analytics panel here. I don't think it will work. This is some content block, Anders Lau. He is quoting here, some links here, and something here, block and copyright. This is what we get upon migration. So we get header. This looks really nice. I'm missing other bits, but still okay. Good for carousel. Where's my video? Okay, this guy, yeah, it doesn't work. This grid works as it was. Some font didn't match, they probably went from parameters. This section went as it is. and the copyright footer here as well. So it looks pretty awesome. And if you come back to the components which we migrated for the home page, this is our home page. So you see there are plenty of components here, lots of them. Again, scrolling up here, all the components that have been converted for the it's actually not home, it's about page. But let's take a look at the page. It's called About Habitat. So out of curiosity, how did it work here? All right, we have 2 blocks here. Header, text, CTA, nothing else. Any good? Okay, so we don't have paddings here. We lost paddings. That's style thing. We still have these guys. Where's the button? No button. Oh, actually, there is button.
It's right there. Yeah.
It's just hidden by the styles. I mean, it overlaps the styles. We have footer. We have all that. And let's take a look at that page before we finish up.
Yeah. Time check.
More info. Let's see what is more info. Go to presentation details. Oh, again, a lot of components, structurals. Yeah. That looks good to me. So this is the page on XP. It's parallax effect or some nice effect. I don't believe this man with mobile will get converted. Another image. More info. Yeah, this block didn't have background. You get it. The book, this section, Habitat project, this website. Yeah. So it basically got all the components. It got all the content. It got it all, other than this image. I think the image is there, just simply hidden by some overlay or whichever. It should be there. If I watch for the markup, the image is called Habitat 043 square.
Mm-hmm.
On the old page, let's see if it got here at all. Not that, but inspect. Yeah, it's definitely here. I have it. So it's only not being shown, but everything else is here. So definitely some work for my front-end team to make this page look nice. But other than that, we managed within an hour. Hopefully I made it less than an hour. Within an hour, we managed to make all the content migration. We convert all the dependencies. We copied the actual pages, rebind the layout, converted the components as good as we could, not ideally, but somehow so that it shows up. And lots of other things we have automated. So that's what Shift AI is for today. And once again, I showed it with the PowerShell, but there is MCP wrapper on top of PowerShell. You can do everything by the textual typing. So if there are any questions, go ahead. If
That's how we lose our jobs. And this is the
Exactly.
beginning of the new future.
That's right. Absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Martin, it's
years,
remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
couple years ago, conversions to XM Cloud cost very like upper six figures because lots of the things you have to do manually, and we didn't have the skills we have these days, so that we know intuitively what would happen.
I
Yeah,
remember those days where installing Sitecore on local machine was itself taking at least 2 days. Now we are talking about converting or migrating XP site into XM Cloud within 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
It's
Arvind,
remarkable.
I'm
It's
looking
remarkable.
forward to hear from you about Sitecore Stream. Especially, I'm interested in the assistant.
Yeah.
I wanted to use assistant API, which is non-existent these days, to generate some brand-aware, personalized content for the marketplace application. And obviously, I failed to do that. That's why I temporarily opt out for the general purpose LLMs. But again, you know much more about this topic, and the stage is yours. Please take it.
Thank you. I haven't explored APIs, stream APIs yet, but yeah, we can certainly discuss about assistant and how that can be helpful to get more insight of BrandKit. So yeah.
I'm very curious about your presentation, so just
Let's see.
and
Let
sorry
me.
for selfishly taking that much time of air
No,
time.
no problem at all.
Well, the reason
What
I
I'll
asked, the reason I asked if you were coming to the symposium, we'll have to do it maybe sometime later when we meet up. But I think Martin knows you one.
right, yeah, no problem. I
Sure.
mean, I hope my screen is visible. Which one?
Yep. The slide on Sitecore Stream.
Yeah, right. Okay, so thank you, Martin and Vasiliy, and hello everyone. It's wonderful to be here with all of you today. Um, I want to start by expressing my genuine appreciation to everyone who has made the time today to participate in this webinar. I hope you'll find this session informative. As Martin is looking for some answers, I hope I'll be able to answer those. Not from API perspective, I haven't used it, but yeah, from interface perspective, we can certainly go into it. We'll deep dive into specifics of Sitecore Stream in just a moment, but first let me take a brief moment to introduce myself for those who might not be very familiar with me. Just a second, where are we? Site is not getting changed, what happened? Just a second, I think there is something. Slide is not getting. Sure, what happened? Just a second. Okay, I hope you can see my second slide, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Arvind Galut. I have been working in the IT field for more than now 18 years. I currently live in Minnesota, United States. Throughout my career, I have been fortunate to work in different roles. starting out as a developer, then moved into project management, and ultimately to my current position as a technology lead, come solution architect. Beyond my professional work, I maintain an active technical blog, and I'm deeply involved into technology community. Currently, I served as a senior technology lead at Horizontal Digital USA. In case any of you have any question, feel free to reach out to me through any of these channels like Slack, LinkedIn, Twitter X, and you can also find my repositories on GitHub and code snippet on Gist. Okay, let me move on to the topic today. In today's session, I'm excited to walk you through these key features that will transform how you think about digital experience management. So firstly, we'll dive into introduction of Sitecore Stream. This is where our journey begins and where we'll discover that what makes this platform so essential. Then we'll explore the key feature of Sitecore Stream at very high level. Think of this as roadmap to understand the platform's core capabilities. After that, we'll discuss role-based access management and collaboration. This is where we'll learn how to build the perfect team structure for the organization. Then we'll cover how to work with brand kit. This is where our brand identity comes into life and get organized. Then we'll dive into organizing brand kit and brand assets within the brand kit. This is where we'll learn to create a centralized hub for all the brand materials. After that, we'll explore how to review and refine brand kits. That is where continuous improvement meets brand excellence. Then we'll cover accessing brand standard and guidelines. This is where consistency become our competitive advantages. Next is the project management within the Sitecore stream itself. This is major one. We'll discuss about the approach of the project workflow. Then we'll look at what to expect next and how Sitecore stream is evolving. This is where we peek into the future of the digital experience management in terms of AI adoption. And then finally, heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us today. So let's begin with our first agenda item, which is an overview of Sitecore Stream. So Sitecore Stream is specifically designed for marketing professionals. It enables teams to develop and distribute content with greater intelligence, efficiency, and at scale. The platform aims to simplify process of campaign development, personalization, and quick deployment across different channels. By addressing typical pain points such as handling multiple brands or orchestrating complex campaigns and meeting demanding timelines, Sitecore Stream helps marketers to produce high quality brand consistent content that improves the customer experience. So basically, this platform is designed to enhance how marketing team creates, manage, and optimize content while maintaining brand uh, messaging or consistent brand messaging. And for technical perspective, it is essentially functions as AI powered layer where AI capabilities will be integrated throughout the Sitecore suite of products, providing features such as brand-aware AI, AI co-pilots, agents, and agentic workflow to simplify marketing process and improve collaboration. It's actually strengthen marketing effort by utilizing AI to streamline content creation, enabling team to redirect their attention towards strategic initiatives while maintaining brand consistency and allowing faster response to evolving market demands. So let's examine some of the key features of Sitecore Stream. So very first feature is comprehensive brand management with Brand Kit. You will hear these keywords like brand management, brand kit, assets, these keywords so many times in the session. The brand kit facilitate the creation of customized brand strategies by organizing brand assets, assisting team to align content across various campaigns and marketing segments. The second one is the contextual content creation. So marketers can engage with the platform by asking questions or requesting specific outputs, whether it is on-demand content draft, campaign ideas, or personalized experience at any stage of the content creation process, and where Martin is more interested into. And the third one is structured project oversight. The project feature provide a centralized dashboard for monitoring progress and managing tasks. It promotes both efficiency and creativity through clearly defined deliverables and AI-powered suggestion. Like by combining human input with automation, it improves productivity, encourages collaboration, and simplifies workflow for faster execution. We can certainly compare these project workflows with other project management tools like Jira, but adding AI capabilities on top of it makes it smarter than those. In my previous slide, we discussed about a stream feature, but how these features can bring values to the business. So now let's dive into the business benefit that makes Sitecore Stream a game changer for the organization. So Sitecore Stream delivers several key advantages that will transform how you operate. So these are few features like centralized brand management, optimized project workflow, intelligent content assistant that we talked about briefly in previous slide. Continuing from the platform benefit we just explored, Sitecore Stream also delivered robust access control and collaboration feature that take framework to the next level. In the context, we have clearly defined user roles and access controls. This is where security meets efficiency. Like Sitecore Stream enables secure and efficient operations by assigning role-specific access to the platform. This ensures everyone has the appropriate permission while keeping sensitive information protected and secure. The second one is the seamless communication and collaboration. It has its own dedicated section in Stream, which is like assistant that we call. This is integrated communication tool supported real-time collaboration, allowing quick updates, immediate feedback, and faster decision making throughout your entire project lifecycle. So it helps us, like whenever we have any kind of questions regarding brand, we can simply ask a question in assistant interface, and it should return the contextual response that will help us the faster decision making that we discussed. And finally, efficient project management. The platform structured project management tools help teams to break down their complex work into smaller, manageable tasks, promoting uh, clearly, clearly accountability and smooth execution for start to finish. These projects deliverables and tasks can be assigned to individual team members, and they can see those assignment in their dashboard whenever they are logging into the portal or the platform. So we'll go through that details later during the demo itself. Now let's quickly dive into the exciting part where we'll explore how to configure your brand kit into the platform itself and discover how to manage it seamlessly. So at its core, brand kit management in Sitecore Stream operates in two powerful ways. The first level is the user-friendly setup process. This is where simplicity meets sophistication. Sitecore Stream lives as a dedicated application right within the Sitecore Cloud portal, making integration and managing incredibility and uh, like user can directly launch the application from the cloud portal itself. By default, organization admin and the owners get immediate access to that app, but you might not be able to see that application in cloud portal, and could be because we have the missing subscription to the Sitecore Stream, or you don't have proper access rights to see that application in cloud portal. The second level is comprehensive customization options, where user can fine tune every brand elements from visual assets to a messaging tone, ensuring each piece of content perfectly reflect company's identity and seamless support for your broader marketing strategy. So here is what you will see when you log into Sitecore Cloud Portal. Here you will spot the Sitecore Stream application right there in the app section. But here is the catch. As I mentioned, this only appears if your organization have active subscription. Otherwise, you'll not be, or you don't have access to this application. So here you can launch the Stream application itself from Cloud Portal. All right, let's suppose we have the access to Sitecore Stream and we can launch the app through Cloud Portal. Then the next question that naturally comes into the mind is, how can we upload and organize brand assets while streamlining our asset management process? To answer this question, I would say that Sitecore Stream deliver a user-friendly interface that transform asset management from a burden to a breeze. It makes uploading your brand assets incredibly simple and ensuring you get quick access, efficient organization, and smooth calibration, all while maintaining that critical brand consistency across the marketing channels. So let's deep dive and see how exactly we can make this happen. So as soon as you launch the application, you should be able to see 4 tabs at the top. From here, you can explore all your existing brand kits. At the like at the third or fourth tab, you can see the brand kit, where you can see all existing brand kit. As I mentioned, we can maintain multiple brand kits into one single platform. So here is the list. Like it could be a list if there are existing brand kit, but you can also create a new brand kit from the button from the right side. So this is how you can create a new brand kit. Now let's jump into our next focus area, reviewing and refining brand kit content. This process can be broken down into 2 components that work together to strengthen your brand presence. The first one is context critical evaluation process. Uh, think of this as our brand regular health checkup. It systematically examine our brand kit to catch any inconsistency and ensure everything stays perfectly aligned with our organization identity and messaging standard across all the platforms. So as soon as we upload brand kit into the platform, the AI engine can start crawling the content into the brand document that we have uploaded and start suggesting if something needs to be updated. Like in assistant, it can ask you further questions, and it can optimize the content of brand kit as well by suggesting few of the common mistakes that anybody can make. So AI assistant or AI suggestion feature can also suggest some kind of upgradation on brand kit as well. The second piece of puzzle is collaborative feedback integration. This is where the magic of teamwork really shines. Like by bringing together diverse perspective from various stakeholders, we create a more robust feedback loop that significantly improve the accuracy and relevancy of how the brand is represented in all marketing efforts. So Sitecore Stream makes accessible brand standard and guidelines incredibly straightforward through these powerful features like centralized resource uh, accessibility. Then we have real-time brand alignment. And then the third one is dynamic updates with the governance. I'll not go too much deeper into it as the summary is already provided in the slide itself. We can go through the next tab. Uh, here is where the actual management of brand kit happens. This is how we can manage and implement everything we just covered. Each individual brand kit gives us the power to review and fine tune key elements that make a brand truly shine. Global goals, brand context, does and don'ts, tone of voice, checklist, grammar guidance, visual guidance, and image styling. This comprehensive toolkit is available for every brand kit you create. In the example shown here, that is currently selected brand kit as horizontal, but you can see how each element is carefully organized and ready for your team to leverage. So once brand kit or brand document is uploaded, we can see all these sections where these sections can be managed independently, and AI can help us to even optimize all these sections later. Uh, Now let's go a little deeper into project management and discover how we can structure projects, their activities and deliverables using Sitecore brand. Sitecore Stream transform project organization and streamlining the entire process, delivering crystal clear clarity and perfect alignment at every stage of the project lifecycle or project journey. Under the project management category, Sitecore Stream delivers some impressive capabilities like enhanced project frameworks, customizable deliverables, and efficient task dependency management. So through the platform itself, we can have multiple project defines. Each project can have multiple tasks. Those tasks are more granular in the deeper level, and those tasks can be assigned to individual team members, and those tasks can be tracked um, by the project managers within the platform itself. So we will have a look on how interface look like. I hope you are still with me. I'll take a pause and you can simply say that yes,
Yep.
everything is good.
Yep.
Okay. Uh, so here it is, like project also get their own dedicated section inside Core Stream platform and can be found as the second item in the platform dashboard. It's like having your entire project universe organized and accessible at your fingertip. This is how the project listing appears, where project managers can search for specific project and apply smart filter based on status, labels, or even a specific brand kit. It's like having a powerful search engine built right into your project management workflow. And by clicking on individual project, you will be taken directly to the project dashboard where you can see task progress and manage the work with precision and ease. It's your command center for everything which is related to the project. Here are some powerful project management features that Sitecore Stream brings into the table, like improved task visibility. We'll figure it out how it is improving the task visibility. Then we have integrated communication channel, and then we have flexible workflow management. Uh, Now back to the cloud portal. Once you are inside any project, like we got a list of project here, and when we select any project, here are the list of tasks we can see. So you can seamlessly switch between different views like list, Kanban, timeline, and funnel to the organize to organize your work in uh, whatever whatever way you like. Like we have the Kanban board, we have the timeline board, we have funnel, and we have also attachment sections where individual attachments or documents can be attached to a feature or the task. With AI-driven workflows, inefficiency become a things of the past, like freeing up your teams to channel their energy into creativity and strategy while automating these repetitive manual tasks that used to eat up the valuable time across the entire digital experience lifecycle. So each deliverable is built from task that breaks down complex work into bit-sized actionable steps. These tasks can be created manually or generated by AI suggestions that streamline your planning process and help you stay ahead of the curve. Like if you can see the screenshot, um, we have the task and there is another action button like suggest task with AI. So AI can also suggest few of the task, or I would say subtask, depending on the feature title or the story title. And there is some features that you can either accept those tasks or you can reject those AI suggested tasks. I think that would be great help during the project planning. So we'll see into the action in some time. So what's next? Like how would we envision the future of the Sitecore stream, and what exciting development can we uh, expect in the upcoming months? Uh, Here is what I can see. Like uh, this screenshot is taken from the Sitecore application itself. Like Sitecore is not just keeping the pace with digital experience innovation, they are setting the pace. The company is continuously pushing the boundaries of what's possible with their intelligent digital experience platform strategy. With the Sidecore stream, they are weaving cutting edge AI driven capabilities directly into the product ecosystem. So if you can see that the plan of using stream platform across all Sidecore product suite. So it is already there and it is already launched for XP. Like in XP platform, we can integrate with the Sidecore stream. It has the package provided by Stream platform itself, and that package can be installed in XP or even that is available in XM Cloud. So you can install that package and it will be well integrated into the platform itself, where we can make use of Stream to either content creation, page content population, and uh, the approval workflow as well. Uh, that concludes today's session. We'll now jump on to the brief demo on Sitecore Stream if time allows. So, uh, Vasily, should we continue with the demo? If time allows, then I can jump
Yes.
on the demo now.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Okay. Yep, that's the best part.
Who wants to demo?
Okay, let me open the cloud portal. And there are a lot of applications, but we are interested into Stream that I mentioned in my screenshot that it has its own place in the cloud portal, and we can find it over the app listing. As soon as we click it, we can directly jump onto the portal itself, or we can directly jump onto the particular sections. Like we talked about 3 sections: brand kit, assistant, and the project. Let's jump on the portal platform itself. So as soon as I landed onto the platform, you can see that uh, we have the summary of my day. So as soon as any of the user landed onto the page, he can see that what are my day looks like today, like what is the progress of my project. I'm assigned to this AG Arvind Gehlot demo. That is the project that was created long back. And I created few of the deliverables. What are the progress of those deliverables, deadline management, risk assessment. So everything on the dashboard itself. Now, we have another thing like view all projects, or we can land onto the project section of it from the toolbar as well. So if I go to the project, there are a lot of additional other projects as well into the subscription. I'll go to the project that I had created earlier. And if you can see that here, we have few deliverables. So new deliverables can be added here. That is the project management tool we are talking about. So we can add new deliverables, and um, into the existing deliverables, we can ask AI to suggest the task as well. Like if you can see here, the project kickoff meeting. Here, I can manually add additional task, but if not, if I would like to ask AI to suggest few of additional tasks as well, and then we can click on this feature, and the AI would suggest few subtasks that might be contextual to this deliverable. And when it suggests these tasks, we can even cancel it, or we can even save it here. We can set the priority, and we can also set the due date. So we can either accept all, or we can cancel all, or it is selective. Like you find that this task is more relevant to my delivery, then why I can save it, otherwise I can cancel it. So I can cancel it, but I can save it, and I can cancel all. So if you can see that here, I have added a new task that is suggested by AI. So this is again cool feature. And we have the resources here. Currently, I haven't have any resources, and the team settings, like what kind of team I can have. So we can define the team here. So this is all about the project management. Like here we can see all deliverables, all new deliverables can be added. Deliverables could be like something similar to stories that we have in Jira. And then it can also suggest few additional deliverables as well from the AI. Now let's jump on the brand kit that we talked about. So within the brand kit, this is the listing of existing brand kit, or we can create a new brand kit. I've created that horizontal as a brand kit here, and uploaded few of the document to define the brand kit. So here we can see that I've added few of the documents into brand kit, and these brand kits can be helpful while creating or while asking uh, the assistant or AI will go through this brand kit document and suggest you what could be the best fit for the brand. So this is the brand kit. We have like whatever the brand representation of brand has, everything is into this document itself. And when we move on these sections here, we discussed these sections in our presentation, where as soon as we upload the brand kit document here, it split that brand document into multiple sections, and each section you can manage it independently. And if and you can enrich from the EA as well for all these sections. So we can populate the content with the AI, and AI can go through the uploaded document with the knowledge base and suggest the proper content into these sections. Now move on to the most interesting part of it. Like here, this is the assistant feature itself, where we can ask AI to give the contextual response of my questions. So here you can see that few of the questions are already there. You can just click on those and those questions and just submit it to the assistant, and assistant will answer you in the context of the brand kit selected. So here you can see that here the brand kit is already selected. So it is just going through the brand kit document, and this is the part of document it traces out and consult it, or thinking the LLM thinking is performed on this brand kit, and it produces the result. And it also suggests the next best question could be from the end user. So if you want to go to the next questions, you can select it and then submit that question, and it will go through the brand kit again and give you the answer. Like if you can see here, it also has like the what color we should use. Uh, so it is basically giving you the more details about your questions. It has the history tab as well. I can see that here, if we can ask any questions from history, that question I asked earlier to this demo, like what color should we use to present brand in HTML pages. So it directly gives you the contextual response that you should use either horizontal white or horizontal black color, the other radiant colors, and whatever the colors it has as per the brand kit that we have uploaded. So uh, this is how the brand kit and the assistant works together, and we can even select the brand kit from the drop down here. So as soon as we select the brand kit, the question gets its context, and you'll get the answers on the contextual brand kit that we have provided to the assistant. So this is all about the assistant. And if you can see here, we discussed about everything is on the dashboard when user logs into the system. So he can manage everything from here. That is all about the platform. It has as I mentioned, it has the integration to XM Cloud, where the content population can also be done with the stream. Um, we can certainly go through that content creation in XM Cloud if time allows. But if not, then we can have a separate session altogether to cover that up, like how the content can be populated with the help of Sitecore Stream in XM Cloud. Any specific question, Martin, you may have? If I can answer, I would try to answer. If not, we can connect later as well.
I'm just thinking of some very creative use cases of getting it all together and querying from assistant. Again, I'm trying to use my imagination. Maybe you can suggest a few. You
Yeah.
don't know.
I'll piggyback on that. I actually had a question for you that, Arvind. So what types of queries or prompts have you noticed that Stream being really good at, and which ones not so much?
Okay, so I'm a developer, so the most I can think of the use cases, like while implementing something that need brand assistant. Like as a developer, I would like to know that what is the color code that I can use to that is contextual to the brand kit. So I can simply ask that, okay, what is the color code? And if you can see, we discussed and we got that brand kit here. We got the brand color from brand kit here. So if you can see here, so this is the color code that it is given to us from and it extracted from the brand kit itself. So I don't need to go through the document to get the color code. I mean, there are the other ways online available, like if you can provide the font, it can gives you the brand the color code. But this is very simple question and answer that I can think of from the technical perspective. But it could be anything, like as I mentioned, it is more for the marketers. Like marketers can consult the brand kit if they want to produce a catalog and they want to publish the catalog. They can simply check the brand kit. They can quickly answer the brand kit that, okay, what are the color code we can use, what are the supported images, or what are the image standards that we are following across the channels. It can suggest you those images and how those images can be used across the platforms, across the channel, by consulting the brand kit document that we have uploaded. So it's basically for the marketers, and that will be really helpful for marketers to get their questions answers quickly than rather consulting the entire brand document and go through each and every line to determine few things.
That makes sense.
Think if this goes beyond the concept and brings into wider system integration across all the applications for our cloud portal, it may bring really good value.
Yeah, I think it is already there. If you happens to work with page builder, it is already there. I mean, we can populate the content of the page through this itself. So let me go to one of the project. Let's see how it looks like. There could be a lot of projects. That is from client. Just ignore it. So I can simply goes to any of the project. Let's see. I hope that page builder is working. So I can directly show you how we can populate the content. It can even be used to populate all single line text, multi-line text field. It already identified those textual field and can try to populate the content for those fields automatically. So, okay, let me go to the page builder. Hopefully, it's not working. Side.
Oh, the demo gods. There we go.
Yeah. Let's see if we have something here. This is the rich text editor we can see. And here, if you pay attention to this icon, that is the actual AI assistant feature. And we can say that, okay, improve writing. Can we suggest or ask anything like, can you suggest good para for this? So it's creating the ideas and it replaces the text as well. And it asks like if you want to keep the optimized content or you want to revert it back. So if you can see that the content is entirely changed and it is suggested by AI. So we can go back. So it is now the original text. So it happens, I mean, this feature is available to all single line text and rich text field, I think. So here, this is the single line text, and It is not. Yeah, it is.
There it is.
And this is the icon for the same thing. And if you can see, there are a few additional options or features it has, like improve writing, fix spelling and grammar, make shorter. If it is paragraph is little bigger, then it can make the paragraph shorter. Or if just 2 lines, it can make longer, or it can summarize. So there are a lot of things we have. Okay, we selected this. Probably would like to go with this. So like suggest longer. Yeah, so you can see we have now longer text inside it. And even we can apply A/B testing on multiple suggestions, change tone, translate. Even translation is also available to translate the content into different languages. So for the marketers or the content authors, it is really helpful. Uh, it can help you into the content creation right from the, and that is powered by Sitecore Stream.
Can you control the way it does translation outside of the prompt?
I think I'm not getting it, but here, if it is like, what are the languages that you have configured for the application? Those languages will be listed here, and it can translate the content into that language, and even you can modify that content once you, like, if you keep this, and then you can directly go here and change the text you want.
That makes sense.
Was that your question?
It was, well, we have a client that came to mind, and they're global, operate in more regions that I can probably cite, and they have different translation rules for different regions, like for different formats. Where, let's say just even simple things like use for certain regions, you would use percentage sign on both numbers. Let's say 20% dash 30%. For another region, it's 20 dash 30%, only 1%. So it's like these little nuances around the translation taxonomy, these little, these little rules that need to be followed depending on the region. It doesn't look like there's a place for that, but it might be, if Sitecore's listening, maybe that could make it.
Yeah, right. For certainly those tones that can be configured in BrandKit itself. Like there is a tone section into this, but that is not for the language translation. That is for the English itself. Like I don't want to use client in my site. Rather, I would like to use customer. So that rule can be set into the stream platform. And while content generation, it will avoid using client and always use customer. Those
That makes
rules can
sense.
be configured in stream.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's. Like, feel free to reach if you have any kind of use case where we can brainstorm together, we can try to implement, and we'll see how we can get maximum benefit out of this platform.
What are your thoughts on the task management tool compared to the tool in Content Hub?
Content Hub, task management or task creation?
Yeah, the PM. What is it? PM project management. Yeah. Gosh, I'm losing the abbreviation for it off the top of my head. But it's part of the Content Ops in Content Hub, so it allows you to set up projects. And I wonder if this is going to replace that.
Oh yeah, I remember. That is actually I don't think that can be used for project management, but certainly there are some keywords, CMP, something like that.
Yeah, it's part of that. Yep.
Yeah, it's part of that. that is for campaign creation and all. Yes, your question is really valid. Not sure whether they can replace it, but these are two different platforms. Not sure if they're gonna replace it in Content Hub. But yeah, those two features seems similar. Yep.
Mhm. Excellent. No, this is very interesting, very exciting, and you know, I think the key in this one would be, you know, if Sitecore is listening, my
Right.
Christmas wish would be to add more configurability to all
Oh,
these things, to
yeah.
customize for those unique use cases, because generic things have already been solved and there isn't much value in generalizing AI. It's the ability for AI to solve for unique business problems. I think that's where there's a lot of
Yeah.
value there.
Right. That's true.
All right, Martin, any questions from your end?
Yeah, basically on the same feedback as you have, plus minus. I definitely see these tools do have some potential, but Sitecore must expand this potential. So it's like they must complete this journey, and then it will work fully and entirely.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to announce at the symposium. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot about AI. So I'm curious what they have in store. So, well, on that note, Arvind, thank you so much. This is great. It's always good to talk about AI and Sitecore Stream, I think.
Thank you, Arvind. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great product. So, anyways, this was a longer user group than we normally run. So, thank you, Arvind, for sticking around and being patient. I really appreciate it. Amir,
No problem
thank
at
you
all.
for
It's my
hanging
pleasure.
on.
Yep.
It's a pleasure having you. So, uh, you know, for everyone going to the Sitecore Symposium, we'll see you there. If not, we'll probably have another user group post symposium. I'm sure there's going to be a lot coming out of the symposium, a lot to talk about. So we'll have one before we wrap up the year on the new announcements, new developments, and let's see, anything else? Any other news, Martin?
Yeah, there are plenty of news, but again, I cannot say it openly because I'm
Oh,
more
public news, yeah.
anticipating MDP Summit rather than symposium itself, because this is where they will tell us all of the hot stuff. I know partially what they're going to tell, but the other big part of it, I'm anticipating. Like all of you who are on the call, lucky enough to be Sitecore MVPs. So see you there if you come.
Awesome.
I'm definitely there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks everyone, and thanks everyone who'll be watching this. And if you lasted this long, kudos to you. If you have any questions about the content that you saw, feel free to reach out to me, Martin, or Arvind directly. We'll list the information and we'll list the recording on the meetup page. And thank you very much again, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.